yung mga dasal ng mga bata as mas napapakinggan, nakakarating ng mabilis sa langit.
For the children, they're not just the future of our church, but they're the now.
Grab, so nice to see you!
Oo nga, Chay. Grabe, alam niyo ba, FRC fam, after a year of doing this show on Zoom, online, nagkita na rin kami in person ng aking Church Alive co-host. Grabe, no? Quite recently.
Yeah, grabe, sobrang surreal, no? As in, I can't believe I even saw you. Oh my gosh, tao ka talaga.
May papo si Chay.
FRC fam. Yes, na-confirm mo yan. And FRC fam, you know, you can watch that. It's on our Facebook page. And para naman maging part yun ng first meeting namin, di ba? Hindi man kayo nandun, pero you'll be there with us in spirit. So, check it out na!
Yes, at may pa-surprise tour pa yun para sa inyo. So make sure to watch that and let us know what you think by commenting down below. Yes.
Yes, yes. So, to start this episode, no, Rap, may question ako sa'yo.
Oh, ano yun, Chay?
Naalala mo pa
Sige.
ba yung first prayer that you've ever learned?
First ever. First
ever.
Sige. I think yung pinakaunang memory ko ng prayer na may malay na ako, kasi nga natatandaan ko pa siya ngayon, is yung bata pa ako, I vividly remember always praying before going to sleep, Angel of God. Tapos, ang ginagawa ng parents namin, magpe-print out sila ng prayer. Tapos didikit nila sa tabi ng bed namin. Tapos every night, we pray that before going to sleep. And that's how we memorize yung prayers and how they taught us na, okay, every night bago matulog, make sure you pray, thank God, etc. etc. So yun, actually very vivid yung memory ko now that you asked it. Nakakatuwa. How about you, Chay?
Actually, same tayo. Yung prayer before you sleep. Sabi ko pa, prayer before meals. Hindi. Yung prayer before
Uy, importante din yun.
Oo, importante yun. Parang nakaka-bilis ma-memorize nun. Pero actually, yung first ko talagang naalalang prayer, I was also thinking about this earlier, na prayer before I sleep, yun yung, and now I lay myself to sleep. Tapos I pray it with my parents. So sabay-sabay namin siyang pinipray nung only child pa lang ako. Wow! Kasi syempre after ilang years, natagdag na yung process. Siya first na natutunan yun. Tapos sinasabay namin. So after a while, na-memorize na rin namin. Kasi may specifics din yun, hindi lang yung typical na prayer, parang may prayer din with the family, like addressing them, parang gano'n.
Oo, tama.
So naging system na siya. So dun siya na-establish sa akin na, tapos na-memorize ko na rin, gano'n. Kayo kaya, diba? Tanong natin, Rap, sila FRC fam, diba?
Oo nga, I'm interested to know.
Diba, we wanna know, ano yung unang dasal na natutunan nyo? Maybe you can comment down below. Diba? Para naman magkaalaman tayo, baka pare-pareho rin yung mga dasal natin. So that's really interesting to find out also, no?
Oo. At actually, kung pwede nyo na rin i-share at what age kayo unang natuto magdasal. Kailan kaya? Ako, yung natandaan ko na yun na memory, feeling ko mga nasa preschool age-ish or something like that. So, FRC fam, type down your answers in the comments below. Very apt. Because our episode today for Church Alive is entitled, Does Age Matter in Prayer?
Nako, we are really excited to hear about that. But, of course, no, we will not make you wait, our FRC fam out there who's watching, because we have special guests that will be joining our episode today. So, introduce ko na, Rap?
Yes, excited
na
ako.
First set. Yes, ako rin. So, we have our first guest. This is Tita Mina and Tita Sonny. They are the heads of the Mustard Seed Ministry of Christ the King. They have 3 daughters, and they currently run an online grocery business called Casa Mejia, which is powered by Sari Suki. So let us all welcome Tita Mina and Tita Sonny into the show.
Good morning!
Good morning!
Thank you for having us, Hi and Rap. Good morning!
Good morning po!
Thank you for joining us also.
Very great to have you here. And of course, to also join our conversation for this episode is Liana Villamin, wife of Edward, a full-time mom of 2, and she is currently the coordinator of the Family Rosary Crusade in NSPS, Socorro unit. So let's welcome Liana.
Hi, Liana! Welcome!
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Thank you po sa pag-ibig again sa Church Alive episode.
Tama, kasi kung natatandaan yung FRC fam, Ate Liana is actually one of our guests exactly a year ago from our October 2021 episode.
Yes.
Also on the Rosary Month. Yes.
Rosary month, yes.
Ayan. So welcome
So
to
it's
our
not just
guests.
welcome back.
Ayun, oo, tama. Welcome back. Why don't we get this conversation going, no, Chay?
Yes, let's go.
Oh, so I think when we talk about prayer, and of course in the context of prayer for bago siguro natin pag-usapan yung experience ng ating guests with teaching their sons and daughters, their children how to pray. It'd be good to actually ask them their first experience of prayer. Diba? So similar to the question that we answered kanina, Chay, no? So my question is for our guests ngayon, how would you describe your prayer, or how you do your prayers today? And what was the first ever prayer that you learned, if you can remember that also, and share us your experience of getting to know how to pray?
I can start. Siguro
Sige po.
I'll share. Narinig ko kasi yung nag-share niyo kanina how you started when your prayer when you were kids. Ako, I distinctly remember rin my mother bringing me to the Pink Sisters, yung sa Hemadi. And then I love going there kasi, di ba, we write the petitions, ganyan, maliit pa lang ako. And then very distinct din sa akin yung my lola. I'm praying with my lola the rosary every night. So makikiluhod ako sa kanya. And yun yung natatandaan ko in terms of how I started praying when I was young. I was taught.
Sa akin naman, medyo on the negative side ang aking experience on prayer. No? Kasi as a child, the rosary is really an eternity. No? Mga 15 minutes, pero it feels like
Yes.
4 hours. No?
Yeah.
So, yung first experience ko of prayer is also that, no? Praying with my lola in her room and being restless. No?
Pero now, hindi na negative.
Hindi
Sana
na.
naman.
Medyo nag-mature ako ng konti.
Umikli na yung
Current pala eh.
yung eternity. Do you remember po like what age you were during that time when you learned how to pray?
Ako, ang alam ko, parang mga
4 or 5.
5.
Yeah,
Around that time also.
Preschool years.
Age of yung may awareness na ako of
Yeah.
laro, time. Yeah.
Ang unang tinuro po sa akin ng aking mga magulang is sign of the cross. Pag may makikita ng simbahan, laging parang
Mag-sign
yun
of the
yung
cross.
mag-sign of the cross. And then si mama kasi is a devotee of Saint Peregrine. So every day may rosary. Narinig ko lang, bali hindi siya nagpupush talaga sa akin na Hail Mary. More on na-observe ko hanggang na-adapt ko na yung mga rosary prayers. Parang parang gaya-gaya lang. And then ngayon ko na pagtanto na sobrang napaka-importante pala talaga niya sa bata.
Actually, what I'm hearing is it's a common experience na definitely iba yung encounter natin dun sa nung natututunan pa natin yung pagdadasal up until now to how we understand prayer. So I'm actually interested to hear also. Can you describe how you would say your prayer evolved?
Before po ako nag-handle ng naging server sa simbahan. Nakakatamad po talaga magdasal. Nung kabataan din po ako. Kumbaga, syempre, gusto ko maglaro lang, something like that. And then, nag-rosary, umaattend ng alay, Flores de Mayo every May. So, at that age po kasi, 7, so meron sa kapilya namin ng gano'n. Umaattend kami just for the snacks. So, yung parang inaantay lang po namin matapos, pero nakaka-bore po talaga. Nung ganong mga age po by the time na high school na po ako, and then, doon ko napagtanto gaano ka-importante yung pagdarasal. Nakita ko po yun sa mga magulang ko. And then, si Papa, umaattend ng traslasyon. Parang, bakit kailangan nila magbuhat ng Nazareno? Para, alam niyo po yun, parang, hindi ko po maintindihan pa before, but kailangan nila magsakripisyo in prayer. And then, nung naging server po ako ng simbahan, doon ko po natutunan kung gaano kahalaga. It really helped us a lot. Lalo na po, yung mga pagsubok sa buhay, nakita ko po talaga sa mga magulang ko yon. And then through their prayers, parang nagkakaroon sila ng pag-asa. Alam niyo po yun, tipong may time na gipit kami, walang makain. But still, si mama, parang nagtitiwala siya na even, ayun, praying the rosary. Parang nakikita kong may mga biyaya pa rin, nakakakain pa rin naman kami. So, ayun po, doon ko nakita yung value talaga ng prayer. Nung nagsimula po akong maglingkod sa simbahan. Which is, ito po yung number 1 talaga po na tinuturo po namin sa mga anak namin.
In my case, very very similar also. Pero yung I found yung relevance ng prayer in my life was nung naging renewed Catholic. When I was active in a charismatic group, when I was in college. So prior to that, kasi talagang sasama lang ako, magsisimba. It wasn't very deep yet at the time. But when I was renewed, tapos nakita ko yung importance of the Eucharist, the importance of having a more personal relationship with God. So, yun, doon na-deepen. Kaya lang, siguro nag-evolve din siya because when we got married, medyo nawala yun eh. We became more busy with our family in terms of siguro building the family, not thinking na dapat maging deliberate and intentional in teaching our children. Hindi siya naging automatic. It was only when we became active again in the community na we saw the need talaga of prayer, na putting it as a center of our family. Yung basta we have our Bible reflection, we do it with our children, tapos we taught them how to reflect on the assigned gospel reading, tapos to journal, ganyan. So, in the process na we were teaching our children, yun, doon na rin na-deepen yung prayer life.
Ako naman, I'd like to start dun sa yung sinabi ko kanina na kahit na negative kasi, my mom and my lola, well, you can say force me to go through the rhythm of going to mass, praying the rosary. So the emotion, wala doon. Pero the rhythm, yung pattern or the habit of going to the prayer or going to pray the rosary, going to mass, na-establish. Siguro nagtuturn siya whenever I see God as a reality. Nung una kasi, God is just a concept. God is like siguro a vendo machine. You do something good, you put money, and then you'll get Coke. No? So, something like, ay, bawal naman advertise. No? You'll get a soft drink.
Hindi po kami sponsored.
Sponsor, kung tayo sponsor. So, parang ganon. As the concept would evolve, siguro as a middle schooler, mas nagiging real na siya. May age of awareness na nakikita ko na how much God loves or God is love, di ba? Nakikita ko how real His love is for me, how real that love is na kaya kong mag-grasp. So more and more, the prayer becomes deeper and it becomes real. It becomes part of my lifestyle.
So tama po, no? Like the difference also is having that personal encounter or experience of who God is. And then, yun yung parang medyo malaking push or tulong sa pag-evolve nung how we do our prayers. What do you think, Chay?
Actually, nag-resonate ako Nag-resonate ako Tito Sonny kasi parang it makes me feel na, okay, so normal naman pala yung mga ganyan na perception, experience mo rin with prayer. Lalo na yung, it feels like an eternity.
I think, lahat tayo bilang mga bata na daanan natin.
Yeah! Sa school kasi, diba, parang sa school kasi, at my school, we're Catholic school. So, we pray the rosary like month of October, ganyan. So, we're like, especially in the morning, you're like sleepy, tapos, hala, may dasal na sobrang haba para matatapos. But lalo pa, it's very repetitive. Parang midway, kind of like, nawawala yung essence niya pagbata. Kasi ano ba yun? Like, diba, parang nagiging, wala, sinasabi mo na lang yung words. Ganyan. So, naintindihan ko yung sinabi ni Tito Sonny, tapos nag-evolve na rin siya, no, na as you grow up, parang nagiging reality siya. Yun din, super, I feel that kasi nag-iiba rin yung perception mo of the world. Kaya sobrang na-appreciate yung story kasi, hindi pala ako masama. Normal siyang pinagdadaanan. So I want to hear also our FRC fam out there, baka you have some stories to share, please comment down below, no? So, balik lang tayo. I wanted to ask you, kasi you mentioned how you are also able to bring it into the lives of your kids today, no? Both for kina Tita Mina, Tito Sonny, and then of course kay Ate Liana. So, I want to understand, how did you do it? Parang, di ba, you were also in the process of it, na you were trying to evolve as a person, a prayerful person. So maybe I want to understand, ano yung naging tricks nyo? Kami ni Rap, iba. Ako sabay with family mag-pray. Tapos si Rap may paper. So maybe, you can enlighten us also on how you were able to bring prayer into the lives of your kids.
For me kasi, I remember nabanggit ni Rap, yung personal encounter kasi. Before kasi, parang hindi ako madasalin talaga. So, since nagkaroon ako ng personal encounter with the Lord Jesus, as in meron akong a miracle na masasabi kong nangyari talaga sa buhay ko. Which is, I want to pass through talaga sa mga anak namin how important the prayer is, how important attending the Mass, especially the Mass, and then praying the Rosary. This is what we want to pass to them. So, naalala ko nung buntis ako kay Alicia, kasi feeling ko kasi parang feeling ko hindi ako magkakaanak, something like that. Parang, pwede bang magbuntis ang may polio? Parang ganun. I have a lot of illness talaga. So, nagkaroon ako ng negative. Okay ba akong maging nanay? So, parang nandun yung takot ko. Lord, kayo na pong bahala kung ipagkakatiwala niyo po sa amin ng mga anak. And then, Alicia came. Ito po yung natutunan namin, number 1 in raising our family is talaga to pray, especially the Rosary together, and then attending Mass together. Minsan kasi mga bata, makukulit, akala natin. Pero as what we observe sa aming 6-year-old and 4-year-old, si Alicia and Eliza, they know how to pray the Rosary kasi they observe us praying the Rosary together. So we don't push them, you need to pray, hawakan mo tong crucifix, that's the Apostles' Creed. Hindi po. Pinapakita po namin. So more on action. Hindi namin sila pinupuwersa, ito ang tamang pagdadasal. No. Parang we model. We model the prayer even in the Mass. During the consecration, alam nila kung tatahimik sila. Siyempre galaw-galaw. Pero alam nila kapag nandiyan na yung consecration. So napakahalaga po nun talaga sa mga bata ngayon. Kahit na sabihin po natin na mga bata sila hindi nakakaintindi, hindi po Doon ako nagkamali kasi akala ko na nung bata ako, parang hindi pa bukas yung mind namin sa mga dasal-dasal. But when we observe sa mga anak namin, napaka-importante na habang nasa tiyan, talagang nag-value nila. But after the Mass, they will share what they heard from the priest. Nakakatawa po na at their age, wow, parang nagpapasalamat ako sa Diyos na binibigyan kami ng gabay na maturuan sila ng gano'n. Akala ko po kasi hindi nila mauunawaan
That's
Salamat,
very nice.
Ate
Actually, ang
Liana.
cute, no? Ang cute nung story na very involved yung kids. Tapos kala ko magulo sila, pero engaged pala talaga sila.
Opo.
And they actually listen. And it's very inspiring for us kasi even for me, syempre, no, bata pa rin naman ako. So, parang nakakatuwa lang na may mas mga bata sa akin na very engaged talaga at a very young age.
Very distinct sa akin yung one memory with my youngest daughter. Yung mention na Liana, yung modeling talaga. So I remember there was one time na my daughter had a tummy ache. Tapos I prayed over her. And I guess it was God's grace that that moment, na-heal talaga siya. So parang it made an impression on her, the power of prayer. Diba? So I think yun yung mga moments that are very important for us when we plant the seed na any moment we can go to God. So yun yung tinry ko ipakita with them. And nakakatuwa kasi there was another incident na we were in a mall, tapos naiwan lang namin silang, tatlo kasi, we have 3 daughters, naiwan namin sila, and they thought nawala sila, because nawala kami sa paningin nila. And then when we returned, the 3 of them were huddled, tapos nagdadasal pala sila, kasi akala nila na nawala sila. So parang, ako na-touch ako doon, na yun yung first instinct
Naisip.
nila, no, to pray. Their faith in prayer is there. And those were the moments talaga na my children witnessed to me. So, I think I agree na we have to really keep bringing them to mass, di ba? Na sometimes yung shinare nga ni Sonny, it's in the motion that matters, na they know the need for it, and also na I always tell them na yung hindi kami, we won't always be here. Not just na yung mamamatay, hindi naman yung mamamatay, but like yung ang nawala, we won't always be around, but I want them to know that God talaga will always be them, and He's really just a prayer, a word away na they can talk to. So parang yun lang, the habit of that God is with them all the time. Yeah.
And I think si Mina kasi did a great job with making them see prayer not as last resort. Kasi di ba, it's been a habit in me or in a lot of people that I know na yung prayer tuwing dire moments lang. No? But Mina instilled it in the kids na prayer is not the last. It's actually the first. It's actually a habit, no? So it's good to start early talaga and to make sure that the rhythm or the motion or the decision to pray is there.
Actually, you know what I'm hearing? They're parang in two different phases and two different facets of faith in prayer. Parang kasi with Ate Liana's story kanina rap, no, what I was getting is yung engagement sa prayer and interest that they had. Na yun nga, magulo sila, kids sila, pero they bring the books, di ba? When they go to the restroom. Or on the other hand naman yung story nila Tita Mina and Tita Sonny is that parang grabe yung level of trust. Like, because of the tummy ache, parang in that instance, tapos yung umulan, ba't pa siya nag-worry? We're already praying. Parang, wow, it's like, parang hindi yung, ba't pa siya nag-worry? May payong naman tayo. It's not that. Like, literally, wow, like, you don't have to worry anymore. Parang, if you don't mind me asking, no, Tita Sonny and Tita Mina, how old are your daughters?
Now they're 16, 18, and 20. So, malalaki na.
Wow! Pero ang nice lang nun kasi parang, yun nga, different characteristics towards prayer is what I'm seeing with the different stories. But it's really nice to have, like, parang ang ganda ng pagpapalaki as parents.
Yeah, I was also somehow recounting my experiences with my siblings in our household on how we were taught how to pray. And I can't help but also feel grateful, syempre, on how I'm hearing these stories and how I can relate to them na malaking bagay talaga yung pagturo sa atin ng parents natin on how to pray. Regardless if we wanted to when we were children or not. Kasi yun naman talaga yung formative years natin na like, wala tayong ibang choice. Sa totoo lang. Kundi, sumunod sa kung ano yung mga isa-set sa households. Kasi bata pa tayo eh. So, those are really the things that will be ingrained in our minds. Kung ano man yung mga seeds na mapaplant nun. And kung ano yung mga mapipick up natin. Like, eventually, makikita natin yan as we grow old. As we choose on our own, di ba? Siguro, of course, in our day and age today, we can't say that it's the same experience for a lot of households also. Even the question, do kids even pray today? That's a very valid thought already, di ba? Marami nang nag-change na not just values but also norms in our country even. Kahit na very rooted tayo sa Catholic upbringing. And so my question would be, una, yun nga, what do you think? Like, do kids actually pray today? This is looking naman externally, like our perspective on the realities around our households or outside our households.
Actually, totoo yan eh. After the post-lockdown, since nagbalik face-to-face sa mga simbahan, especially mga kabataan, wala nang gaano nagsisimba. Like, syempre, yun yung observation namin since we're handling the youth or the Youth in Family Rosary Crusade. So, since we're active in our parish, we want more to see yung mga kabataan, mga bata. One of our mission in Family Rosary Crusade in our community is doing the Black Rosary. So it's like transferring the image of Mama Mary to different households, to different houses. Then we pray the rosary together with the families. We do also Bible sharing with them. So yun, may mga naakyatan kaming pamilya na hindi kasama yung mga bata na magrosaryo. So, syempre, sila Elisha and Elijah, parang nakikita nila, Mami, bakit hindi po sila kasama? Ganun. Sige po, tuloy-tuloy lang po tayong magrosaryo para po makita nila. So, parang, yun yung mga question na it's magsisimula po talaga sa tahanan. So, nakakalungkot na mas nakita kong maraming mga bata ang nawala ngayon sa pagdarasal. Siyempre po, sa mga eskwelahan, number 1 din kasi ang eskwelahan na magturo sa mga bata ng pagdarasal. Since online na po, and then not face-to-face, nawala yung mga katekismo, di ba po? Nagkakaroon ng mga katekismo sa mga eskwelahan eh. Talagang malaking impact. Kaya dapat yung mga magulang, yung sa tahanan mismo, sinisimulan po nilang i-involve. Pwede rin po kasing sila baka napanghinaan, mga ganong bagay. So, sinisimulan din po talagang i-involve ang mga bata ngayon pa lang dahil mas talamak po na parang mas madali pong ma-depress ang mga bata pag hindi po sila talagang hindi nila center ang pagdarasal.
So, I was thinking kasi na parang it's so different kasi online. And then we were all forced to go online. So, yung system nating lahat, what we were used to before going to Mass every Sunday, all of those things, parang literally nawala talaga lahat. And then yun nga, wala tayong choice na we have to go online if you want to go to Mass. So, parang now, how do we go back to like 2 years na straight, di ba, na parang we weren't really going out. So now parang, how do you go back to like bringing yourself to Mass again? Focusing, di ba, na hindi online na lang, na you can just be at home. So it's really different, and the reality of today is a really different topic entirely. So it's also a struggle, I would say.
Struggle talaga siguro kasi ang like what you said nga, ang laki talaga ng effect ng pandemya sa lahat. And first na let go, siguro nung beginning, first that we thought of is, magdasal tayo because we all thought mamamatay. We were all so scared, and that was the beginning. But sadly, the first to let go rin is prayer. Kasi we had to think of all the other things that we feel more important, we thought are more important. Na yung we have to work more, work harder, ganyan. And then academics-wise, yung mga bata, kailangan tutukan lalo yung mga academics more than yung catechism and diba? So it's really a sad effect of that. But siguro moving forward is, naka-help sa amin. Kasi kami rin, because my mom lives with us and she's a senior. A part of the reason why hindi kami kaagad go back to physically going to Mass is we were so scared, no? Yung fear, dealing with the fear of baka mahawa, ganyan. But then, siguro ang nakagising uli sa amin is my mother-in-law told us na in one homily, she heard na kung nakakapag-mall kayo, di dapat kaya nyo rin dalhin mga anak sa simbahan. And yun, talagang, oo nga naman, di ba? Paminsan-minsan nakakalabas na, and the Mass is just an hour. And we also shared that kasi our catechism for our first communicants in the parish already began, and we began with an orientation. Tapos we shared that, na yun nga, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, na kung gugustuhin, may paraan, di ba? If we can go to parties, we can, So, it's really just a matter of going back to that motion again. It's sad kasi wala namang handbook ang parents, di ba? That's why we're here also talking about it. Kasi wala namang parent handbook, walang paano magturo. And we felt that in the parent orientations na maraming parents na willing naman. pero hindi nila alam rin paano. So, ang laking bagay itong ginagawa nyo na, bringing this out there to help parents na pwede natin sila turuan in our own little ways. And I shared it with them rin dun sa orientation na we have it in us. Hindi kaya tayo kailangan na, aralin talaga how to, parang let's begin with yung teaching the sign of the cross again. And then yung bringing them to mass, malaking bagay yon. I think there was a time na parents are also afraid. Pre-pandemic parang parents felt afraid of bringing their children kasi parang people feel na mas maingay yung mga bata ngayon, di ba? Pag sa simbahan, di ba? So yung iba, I know how some parents felt na they didn't feel welcome to bring their toddlers to church. So I think it's, as parents, it's our responsibility to bring them, and then for the other parishioners siguro, for them to understand na for these parents, it's a big thing for them to bring their children. So at least make them feel welcome. And then for the children, they're not just the future of our church, but they're the now, no? Yung para ma-feel nila na kasama sila talaga sa simbahan.
Tama.
So, importante nga na they're present. Whether they like it or not, it's good to be present. Kasi ibang nagagawa na they're there, they see things, they see the church, they see the altar, they experience the mass wherever they are. It doesn't matter if they experience it in a negative light, if they experience it in a positive light, if they're ecstatic about everything, basta they're there. I guess yun yung what I learned with my experience, that I just have to be there. I don't have to feel it all the time. Kasi feelings will come and go. Feelings will be different. Situations will be different. But to just stay, diba? I remember this part of the gospel na sinasabi ni Lord sa kanyang apostles, just stay, diba? Stay. I guess that's the power of being present and being there.
Kumbaga, you have to start from somewhere, for sure. And I guess yung pinaka minimal na effort and mabibigay talaga natin is yung presence. And I believe what I'm hearing po talaga is the children won't be, parang they can't be present if their parents aren't also present with them. So, yung narinig ko kay Tita Mina, if I were to emphasize, if takot yung mga parents on what they will teach or kung paano nila sisimulan, malaking bagay na actually yung model pa lang in doing things, doing prayer in front of their children, going to mass with them. That's a really huge start. Lalo na ngayon, na bumabalik tayong lahat post-pandemic. I know a lot of struggles also from the parents that I know. Maraming mga pandemic babies, they don't even know how to socialize. Sobrang hiya sila lumapit. Takot sila sa tao. And all of that. And actually, these churches, itong mga community gatherings are great opportunities for them to actually see beyond also their households. So yung mga FRC fam, kung nahiya kayong dalhin yung mga anak nyo dahil mag-iingay sila sa simbahan, then let it be so. The church welcomes them kahit gaano kalakas pa yung iyak na yan basta nandun sila sa simbahan.
Actually, natutuwa akong marinig yung kung paano sinabi ni Tito Sonny and ni Tita Mina and also ni Ate Liana, no, yung welcoming ng yung hindi natin alam kung anong ginagawa. Like them as parents, we would think they know everything already. Pero they have different applications on how to approach their kids. And I see a combination, for example, nila Tita Mina and Tito Sonny, no? Very different yung pinanggalingan nila, yung experience nila sa prayer. Pero they were able to unite it in a way na, nagkaroon ng trust yung mga anak nila. And then with Ate Liana, no, what I'm seeing is that yung sa kids, di ba, she was mentioning earlier na parang mas nakikinig sa kids ang Diyos. So nakakatuwa na you ask the kids that, na pray for us. Kasi parang it also gives them that sense of, wow, like, I'm under that responsibility na you believe in me and my relationship with God. So meron siyang parang naka-imply dun sa statement na yun na they feel also that they're also like parang empowered sila as kids. Na yun parang in a total, they feel empowered as a whole through prayer. Tapos dun papasok na we go to church, na it's a struggle right now, pero we welcome them. Na, di ba parang sa church nahihiya yung parents na dalhin yung kids nila. Parang umuwi tayo ulit dun sa pagiging welcoming as a community of the church. So nakakatuwa lang kasi it's different stories, different families, different households, but we unite in that same idea. Hearing it from these two families, parang it's encouraging for me, and I'm pretty sure in our FRC fam out there na share din yung emotions na yun, which is very important. Kasi nga ngayon, di ba, parang 2 years pandemic na we parang okay, constricted lang tayo sa house, parang okay, we're on our own worlds. Paano ba tayo babalik ulit dun? And then get that
Yes.
rhythm back. Parang wala lang, nakakatuwang marinig yun and embracing that reality. Pero what I wanna ask siguro from both families, no, what do you think is the role ng parents, ng schools, institutions, and peers? Kasi we were able to shed light on like the families, no? Siguro outside, parang how do we, kasi there are factors na we won't be able to control, di ba? So how do we deal with that? Nagmamatter ba kung Catholic school or it doesn't really matter? Siguro I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Big factor na Catholic formation, na Catholic school. Although with our children, our daughters were all homeschooled. So parang ay mauuwi talaga sa sa parents, no, sa pamilya. We have to be reminded of what we promised when we brought them for baptism, na we will be the primary formators of our children. Tapos yung peers, of course, you invite, have them be surrounded with peers who will also have the same, di ba, yung pag-grow ng faith, di ba, that they will be encouraged to pray also.
Steel sharpens steel. Diba?
Yes.
Actually, yung the school and the parish, ang ang danger is the concept ngayon of outsourcing. No? Na, okay, hindi ko na trabaho yan. I-outsource ko na lang sa school, sa Catholic school. Okay, hindi ko na trabaho yan. I-outsource ko na lang kay parish. I-outsource ko na lang kay community, children's community. Importante doon nga sa ministry namin, mustard seed, na ma-involve sana ang mga magulang. Na sila talaga ang magiging pag-asa ng prayer life ng mga bata. Para sa akin, it's 90% talaga sa pamilya, sa magulang, o kaya sa guardian, no? Na maipapasa niya talaga ang pagdarasal, ang encounter with Jesus, with the Lord sa mga anak niya.
Hindi kailangan tayo maging perfect as parents, di ba?
Yeah.
Na like I tell them, halimbawa when we teach, we tell the parents, this is actually a journey. Your journey with the children. Na in the same way I shared na yung mga anak ko naka-witness sa amin, di ba? Na they have to see it. Kung halimbawa, hindi lumaki yung magulang na nagdadasal. So there's always a way to start naman. Pwedeng sabayan yung mga bata, 'di ba? So baka lang kasi very intimidating for parents. Ako, trabaho ko pala yan, 'di ba? No, it's a journey that you can also go through with your children. Yeah.
There is grace.
There is grace.
Grace talaga.
Parang there's also honesty there. I mean, yung sabayan mo yung kids mo and yung conversation between among the family is also important. Kasi parang yun, papasok din yung modeling. How do I count you as credible if you're not even telling me na it's really effective for you and all of that? So, yeah.
For me po, basically talaga, importante ang environment kung saan sila na-expose. Pero para sa akin, yung foundation talaga sa loob ng tahanan, yung mas mahalaga. So, ito yung gusto naming i-emphasize sa pamilya, lalo na sa mga bata, na 'di ba po yung fervent prayer po talaga. Na kahit na hindi niya ibigay man ngayon, parang wag mang hinawa hanggang sa ibigay niya later on.
Salamat, Ate Liana. FRC fam, I know we've been hearing a lot of tips and thoughts. from our special guests for this episode. So if you have those insights that you feel like are very valuable from listening throughout our episode, feel free to comment them down below. We want to hear like how has this episode been inspiring you to teach your children how to pray. So we are blessed also for this episode because we've been hearing a lot of experiences from our families who are also handling their own family ministries. Sila Ate Liana, Tito Sonny, and Tita Mina. And siguro to wrap up our episode, what really is that value that makes it beneficial for our kids to learn how to pray at such a young age?
I think the value of prayer, it's everything. It's everything. So the younger we introduce them to the truth, the younger they will have fullness of life. So I think it's the most important thing that we can impart to our children. So the value is that they'll have less influence with what's unreal, yung what's distorted. Mas magkakaroon sila ng uh, vision of what they were meant for, who they were meant to be, who they are called to be. So I think that's what prayer does, so, and that's the advantage. It's all there. Prayer is our link to who God is. We cannot understand who God is no matter how many books we read, no matter uh, how much intellectual thought we put into God. We can never experience who He is. Hindi magkakaroon ng experience ang ating mga anak. And prayer is more like an experience, and it will grow within them, and then it cannot be contained. It will go out, and they will shine, and start them as early as possible. Maganda nga yung sinabi ni Lian,
Nasa
na
womb pa
sa
lang.
womb pa lang, sige,
Ah.
open the floodgates of grace.
I'll just agree with him.
Sige po.
Pero yun nga, na
Second motion.
the womb and as before they speak, teaching them the sign of the cross. Yun. And I think dapat hand in hand rin, side by side is teaching the gospel rin talaga.
Yeah.
Because that's where they would see how the love of God started even yung sa beginning pa lang in the beginning of creation, and then it continues in their lives now because the relevance of prayer will be there if they grasp how much God loves them. So for them to see na prayer is that link to
infinity and beyond.
and to understand the God who created them and to express our love. So siguro yun, for them to see that in the same way you want to speak to me, to mama, and you want to hear my voice and to know my voice, then ganun din si God. That's their link.
Tama yung sinabi ni Tito Sonny kanina. Ito yung ito yung talagang lahat. As in, kumbaga, you cannot live alone. Parang without a prayer. We are nothing without this kind. Parang if we are not prayer, parang if we are not praying, something ganon. Kasi me being a mother, I called Mama Mary every time nahihirapan ako. Kumbaga, if hindi ko to magagawa, siguro parang I surrendered. Parang alam mo na dun ka sa point na talagang magi-give up ka kapag wala ka nito. Ito yung in-embrace namin kasi ito yung nararapat. Parang praying the rosary together as a family is very important to us ni Edward, lalo na sa aming mga anak. Dahil nasabi ni Tita Mina kanina, walang handbook as for parenting talaga . So these experiences that we goes along, yung pagdarasal talaga, especially know the life of Jesus, the passion and death, importante ring malaman ng mga anak namin. So alam nila yon, hindi dahil bata sila, hindi dapat nila matutunan. Napaka-importante kasi napagdadaanan. Kumbaga, yung mga passion ni Jesus, nararanasan din namin. And then afterwards, nandun na yung muling pagkabuhay, na there's still hope, there's a love, there's suffering, lahat yon. Kumbaga, doon namin nakita how the rosary is very important sa aming pamilya. And of course, attending masses as a family.
Thank you for that, Ate Liana.
Salamat, Ate Liana. So, Chai.
Napaka-important. Yes.
Does age really matter in praying?
To me, yung sagot ko, yes. Kasi yung foundation. Parang makikita mo na kapag you start them young, it goes Parang napapaaga mo yung journey nila, mas nare-realize nila through time. Because yun nga, they were exposed to it. Parang, it counts. I mean, it's not the only thing, pero it counts. To me, that's what I'm seeing. How about you?
I think it doesn't matter in such a way na walang edad na hindi tayo pwedeng magdasal. And so, for children, for babies in wombs, up until mga preteens age nila, malaking factor talaga yung families and parents in establishing prayer. Kasi children can't pray on their own yet. And so we need to establish that there's a huge responsibility, yes, from parents to pass on the faith that we have to their children. Hindi dapat nawawala yun, especially when we're trying to raise up our children, trying to start their prayer journey on their own. Yun yung nakita ko na malaking bagay sa experiences ni Ate Liana, Tito Sonny, and Tita Mina. I'm sure they've had their own experiences of prayer growing up, but I also want to emphasize like how they really have done the mission, their part as parents in teaching their children how to pray.
That's so true. And you know, it's refreshing to hear different stories from families, different approaches, but they both go for the same goal. Walang handbook, pero
Yes.
'di ba, you see the value of prayer in their family and how it strengthens their relationship as well as a family. Like I said kanina, I like what Tita Sonny said na be yung honesty there. Kasi there's that communication eh. So it also uplifts how you communicate with your kids, how they communicate with you, na parang, di ba, what also Tita Mina said, yung communication na, if you wanna hear my voice, and then with you sa kids niya, parang yung sense of communication is very strong kasi. I feel like that's a really good trait to have in a family, communication. And then with Ate Liana here, no, you're empowering the kids. So different age din kasi sila, pero you will see na yung value ng prayer na nagagawa sa buhay nila sa family. So that's what I really like dun sa mga stories nila na magkakaiba man, pero pareho yung napapakita sa atin. And I'm pretty sure FRC fam out there, no, like you feel enlightened, you feel happy, and you feel inspired with our episode today. Kaya we're really thankful for our guests that you were able to join and share your stories to us today. No, Rap,
Yes,
Gabriel,
maraming salamat
thank you so
po.
much. Thank you so much for joining us today. And to our FRC fam out there na hindi nagsasawang manood, thank you. And I hope you can catch us again next month for our next episode. And again, this is Chai.
And Rap, who leave you with the wise words of Venerable Patrick Peyton that
The family that prays together stays together.
in a world that prayer is a world at peace.
See you guys.